Good evening and welcome to my channel. Tonight we'll be continuing our story of The Hearts of Argyle Godfrey by Nicholas Leonard. Chapter 5. I was unavailable because I was working most days, but Aurora Oleander finally got me all to herself one day in mid-July, though it took her some coaxing to do because I was still a little paranoid. It was a sunny day in Wakefield, Massachusetts, when Aurora and I walked the perimeter of Lake Wannapuit. The gazebo on the grass had been occupied when I got there, so our trajectory seemed to have the goal of returning to it with the hopes it would be empty. She smelled of lavender and was in a lacy black dress, with her eyelids shadowed to the color of a peach's flesh, a dab of sunset, wealth of silhouettes. I smelled of Axe and sunscreen. "You shave for me," she cheered. "I shave every day," I said. "So what do you study at Salem State?" "Creative writing, poetry." "Poetry? I didn't take you to be a poet." "Why, you got a problem with that?" "No. You write?" She rolled her eyes. "Just poems." Huh? "That's kind of special," I said, my smile acting like a confused pair of sunglasses in the sun. "I've never met anybody who writes poetry. I'm guessing it ain't your thing." "No." She paused before speaking, touching at the middle of her collarbone where the world of her shoulders ended together. "I guess it wouldn't be your thing." "Yeah, and why is that?" "What they try and teach you is that the good poems follow a specific meter." "Meter?" "Using stressed and unstressed syllables," she said, pausing and squinting at me while our trajectory was leading us into the sun. It was easier to hear the cars pass on our right in this pause, but they passed very seldom as it was one of those lazy summer days that belong to the pedestrians. She smiled, though she groaned. You don't know what I'm talking about, do you?" "Nuh-uh." "Iambic meter, iambic pentameter," Aurora said, and it sounded like the name of a planet other than Earth that was finally found to be habitable. "Is when you write something, when it's read aloud, it mimics the rhythm of the human heart." "Oh." "Hey, do you really have your heart removed?" I heard my own voice dip as if it was reaching down into my throat to grab something it dropped. "I do. But tell me about this iambic meter, this poetry thing." "I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead," she said with emphasis. "I lift my lids and all is born again. I think I made you up inside my head." Then she came out of the recital. "That was Sylvia Plath, you know." "I don't know what that was." "But you did hear it? The rhythm?" I almost stopped walking. "Yes, I did." We continued walking, and Aurora spoke to the sunlight in the sky. "The stars go waltzing out in blue and red, and arbitrary blackness gallops in. I shut my eyes and all the world drops dead." "You memorized this? You feel it?" I swallowed nervously. She stopped, blocked me, and spun around to find the sunlight landing in my face, almost taunting me. "You feel it, sense it, hear it. The ba-ba, ba-ba, ba-ba when I speak, don't you?" I felt the room for thunder in my chest, and yet nothing repeated what she said despite the way my spirit's ache progressed. Why was I rendered speechless? I struggled. "I think I do. Maybe." I'm not sure why I struggled. If it was because she was beautiful, she was confident, or because she was literally speaking with the ability to conduct a human heart. It gave her power. She liked the power. She examined my face a little more, savoring my speechlessness. "The holy city, which is your face, your little cheeks the streets of smiles." I think my brow was like a party tent on a windy day, ruffled up against its will. "E. Cummings said that," she explained. I was stiff, feeling like a mummy. You can give words a heartbeat?" She reveled in my need for a minute. She pulled the pause like taffy, pulling it until I was worried it would break. "Yes," she said, euthanizing my anticipation, but not curing the desperation and revelation I was in. Do you think I can do it? Speak like that? Her answer came out in a way that suggested my question had exhausted her. I don't know, Argyle. We started walking again, space and time unpausing itself on Lake Wanapawit to let our trajectory continue. What's it like being heartless? She asked after a while. Sometimes I forget I am. Do you still have feelings? Yes, but I think when I'd usually feel something normal, like an emotion I mean, I only feel the echo of one, what I know it used to feel like. That's a shame, so you won't ever feel anything new. It's okay. You're good at lying, Argyle, but I want to know, was you joking when you said you had to get it out because you kept breaking it? There was a chuckle ready in me, but it didn't come out when I said, no, I can't be trusted with it anymore. So who can be trusted with it now? It was my intuition that made me lie. Nobody. I did my best to conceal my deep breath, but my chest betrayed me. It just can't be inside me anymore. That's a shame. I decided to be brave. I think you find it interesting. Her character wavered ever so slightly with the slightest hint of disappointment whipping in the muscles of her face before quickly whipping back to normal. She sprinkled amusement into her response. Well, a guy holding out his heart in Salem, you can't blame me, can you? No, I guess not. And hearing nothing, her voice trailed off. Heartless. Heartless, I repeated sternly as if it was an insult and was trying not to act offended. But why did she look so entranced? Argyle, do you feel exhausted? Like exhausted all the damn time? Sometimes after work. No, I'm saying normally. Not really. Do you feel, she was hesitant, nervous or lonely? Or is it like a burden's been lifted? Now you don't have to feel for, she stopped herself. Just, what do you feel? Reflections of the things I felt before. What about resentment? Resentment for people who do have a heart. Like you? This made her drop her jaw, but then she understood what I meant. I answered my own question before she could have said something else. No resentment. We kept walking. Okay, I said. Favorite thing at McDonald's? We were talking about poetry, now you want to talk about McDonald's? She sounded judgmental, but amused at least. And in such a combination, her Boston accent reigned supreme. You really are a typical American, huh? That made me stop, but thankfully I got back into step beside her so well that she didn't notice. She rolled her eyes up into the sky, her black pupils acting like integral sunglasses. French fries. What about you? Big Mac, extra sauce. You aren't going to end this date with us at McDonald's, are you? Not anymore, I joked. She snickered. Again, I saw her eyes reject the sun. Her pupils made her eyes immune to it. Abrupt, her fingers curled into my palm. Instinctively, my fingers closed around and on her knuckles, like a little beach established at the feet of boulders, bones. Oh, what an intimate discovery which kept us quiet while walking on. She talked about her job at Macy's, how she started out as a cashier but switched to being a beauty advisor, and how she juggled that and her classes in Salem. As it turns out, her and I dealt with very different customers, and if you've been to the Stop and Shop on Washington Street in Lynn, then you'd probably know what I mean. Not all of them are bad, though, I was chuckling. One time some woman, I think she was a mom, ran over and hugged me and told me I was doing a good job. She told me she saw me working every day. Aurora didn't have much to say at this, so she just faintly smiled. We were now walking away from the sun, now on the other side of the lake. And what will you do after Stop and Shop? She asked. But I had no answer. Everything I had tried had ended up in failure, whether by my own doing or by bad luck, or by not knowing questions on the Idaho Park Ranger test. Everything I had tried led to me losing the privilege of having a heart. Stop and Shop felt like the final hope, so no, I did not have an answer for Aurora. I haven't thought about that yet. Oh, come on. I myself am going to write a great novel. About what? A prostitute in New York, probably. Or should it be Los Angeles? I've never been to either, I admitted. I wouldn't know, and I've never met a prostitute. So what are you going to do? I think I'll become a male prostitute, she cackled then, asked when her amusement died down. Come on, what interests do you have? I like the woods. I don't know, maybe I'll look for an apprenticeship in masonry. Is that hard? I hear it's very physical. While her hand was still in mine, she took her other hand and squeezed my arm. I think you'll be fine. Sure, I said, as I imagined whatever building I helped build collapsing. A novelist and a mason, she mused as if she was speaking more about characters in a movie than about us in real life. We're just a cart boy and a college student now, I said. Well, beauty advisor, too. We walked on, and I felt the sun finally melting the sunblock on the back of my neck. A bumblebee buzzed by, and a child laughed from somewhere in the grass, for it was a sunny day, and many mothers had brought out their children to experience the summer. One little girl with pudgy cheeks and curly hair marveled at us as if we were a modern Cinderella and Prince Charming. But I don't think Aurora noticed her. I think this was why the gazebo felt like part of a palace when we finally reached, and when we did complete our slingshot around the lake, the gazebo had been vacated. The foundation of the gazebo was stone and much prettier than the wall around Pine Grove Cemetery. Its skeleton, which held up the brick red dome roof, consisted of green railings that probably used to be the same bronze or copper that the Statue of Liberty used to be. In this, we leaned forward on the railing and looked out at the lake. My eyes had gotten so used to squinting in the sunlight that I still was squinting while we stood in the gazebo, watching the wrinkles in the lake catch and try to keep the sun. I have to give my heart away, I said, and Aurora turned her head to look at me while I dropped mine. I have to give it to someone who can be trusted with it, a woman. That's what my doctor told me when she took it out. She spoke carefully. What kind of woman? I wanted to shrug, but I didn't. That I don't know. Someone who loves me, I guess. Someone who won't let anything happen to my heart the way I let things happen to it, supposedly. What's she supposed to do with it when she has it? Keep it. Put it in a safe place, maybe. Aurora's smile seemed in charge of all the sunlight. You were so hesitant that night in Salem. It was wicked cute, actually, the way you held it out, but was like afraid to have somebody bag it. Well, how'd I know who to give it to? I don't think you'll know, but I think she will definitely know. Aurora sounded sure of herself. But who could love an empty man? She got real serious. Would you love an empty woman? If I loved her, yes. I'm sure she could be full again. Why, I'd fill her up again if I loved her. You're wicked cute, you know that? The vessels in my face completed what my heart was once in charge of doing. I blushed. She touched my cheek to far my spirits moan. I had to take the deepest breath to keep earthquakes from happening inside my chest. I think something was shaking in my throat, something not brave enough to board my breath. Her tranquil eyes, so dark, forbade I speak in such a lovely moment of nothing. Her fingers analyzing on my cheek. You're gonna find a woman with such a giant heart that it'll be big enough to beat for two, she promised me, petting my face. My very being ached. This was where and when her beauty culminated, and I believed, no, I knew, that she had a heart that could have beat for me as well. Thus ends Chapter 5 of The Hearts of Argyle Godfrey by Nicholas Leonard.